What you are about to see is real footage. A man, an elevator, and a smile that will haunt you long after this video ends. October 2022, Bekasi, Indonesia. The elevator doors open. A man walks in, calmly pushing a shopping cart. Inside that cart, hidden, wrapped, concealed, is the body of a young woman named Icha. A neighbor steps in beside him. He turns, and he smiles. Not a nervous smile, not a guilty smile. A relaxed, easy, completely unbothered smile. That moment captured on CCTV would shock an entire nation. To understand how a man could smile in that elevator, you have to understand who Christian Rudolf Tobing was, who everyone thought he was. Rudolf was a pastor, a therapist, a man people turned to in their darkest moments for guidance, for healing, for hope. But behind that collar and that gentle voice was something else entirely. For years, Rudolf had been quietly burning. He harbored deep resentment toward former business partners and friends, specifically two people, a man named Hardman, a woman named Shinta. In his mind, they had wronged him, betrayed him, destroyed something he had built, and he had decided coldly, methodically, that all three of them had to die. He began to plan. He scouted hotels to avoid CCTV cameras. He studied routes. He calculated risks. This was not a crime of passion. This was a blueprint. But Hardman and Shinta were difficult to reach, so Rudolf waited. And when an opportunity finally came, it wasn't through them. It was through Icha. Ada Yunya Rizabani, known to everyone as Icha, was connected to his circle. She was young, trusting, and she had no idea that she had been selected not out of hatred, but out of convenience. She was simply the one he could reach first. The setup was simple, and it worked perfectly. Rudolf contacted Icha and told her he needed her help filming a promotional video. It was a professional request, nothing alarming. She agreed. She arrived at the apartment. She never left. Rudolf kidnapped and murdered her inside that apartment. Then he wrapped her body, placed her in a shopping cart, and wheeled her through the building, past neighbors, past cameras, smiling the whole way. On October 17th, 2022, a body was discovered in a plastic bag under a toll road in Bekasi, Indonesia. Police identified the victim as Icha, and when they began pulling the thread of her final hours, every lead pointed to one man: the pastor, the therapist, the smiling man in the elevator. Here is where it gets even darker. After murdering Icha, Rudolf stole her money, not out of desperation, not out of greed. He needed it to hire a hitman to finish what he had started. Hardman and Shinta were still alive, and in Rudolf's mind, the job was only a third of the way done. He was not finished. He was just getting started. But Rudolf never got the chance to finish his list. Police arrested him, and the case quickly became one of the most talked about crimes in Indonesian history, not just because of the brutality, but because of that smile. A psychiatric evaluation was ordered. Experts examined him thoroughly. Their conclusion: Rudolf was completely mentally sound. He knew exactly what he was doing, every step of the way. Throughout the entire trial, Rudolf showed no remorse, no tears, no guilt, no moment of reckoning, just the same calm, composed face that had smiled in that elevator. In July 2023, Christian Rudolf Tobing was sentenced to 20 years in prison, the maximum fixed-term sentence available under Indonesian law for his crime. For a man who had planned to kill 3 people and felt nothing doing it, many felt it wasn't enough. Icha went to that apartment because she trusted someone she had no reason to doubt. A pastor, a therapist, a man whose entire life was built around the idea of helping people. She never came home, and somewhere in a prison cell in Indonesia, the man who took her life, a man who smiled while wheeling her body through an elevator, is still breathing, still calm, still smiling perhaps. The True Crime Archive. We don't let them be forgotten.